And here we go with the map number 3. It's again going to be Baltic, of course, and it's slightly different, quite a lot different. Some very, very short amount of distance between the water and the side of the map, and this very interesting cove. God damn it, that's interesting. It goes all the way around the island. Oh wow, that's seriously curious looking. And how's it looking? It's Mango on this side and on the other side RoR Falcon. Alright, so it's pretty much the same as the other map where it divides the teams and not the teammates, so that's at least that going in there. Although it's slightly worse for Falcon because if they don't win the water, then CZ will have a pretty good control of this part of the map, which will make life for Yellow very difficult. So they better be careful, RoRs, and do everything to win the water. And the first to have a look at then is Skull, who is spawned at the top here. He's having kinda interesting map here. The stone placed right next to the wall here, together with the second stone as well. He's having double bore in the front, which is okay. Extra berries if he needs to. And where is his gold? Alright, this is main gold, so that's nice. And the double golds here. And is it? Yeah, it's not really close to his opponent, so it should be reasonably defensible. This hunt is also pretty nice, although the wolf there might be a bit of a problem. But the extra gold at the top is very sweet, and this one as well. I'm kind of thinking, oh well, that's not greens really. But that's literally between them, and this choke point with these 3 gold mines could be pretty important to actually take care of for both of the teams. You can see right now that actually Skull is right now in Green's base. Actually, will be seen where he is. That's seriously a lot of gold. That's a lot of gold for Jon Snow as well. Triple decent mines. Well, sweet as they go. Very nice stone. Double bore, of course, and hunt. And also a relic. Some berries, and this is the second stone. That's kind of reasonable. He has also some extra hunt if he discovers it, which maybe he will here if he goes a bit left. Will he? Will he finish the route to the left or not? So far doesn't seem so, so yeah, he seems to be content with this. And let's have a look what's going on with Yannick as a pocket for CZ. The civilizations are Han, Mongol, Viking, again the Mayan, Viking, Han, so that's a bit different because in the first spawn of this map we saw a mirror, if I remember correctly. We have the Vikings and Huns same, and then we have difference in Mongols and Mayans. So take your guess what's going to be better. Yannick is having a second bar here, one is already being butchered in his base, and otherwise nice save gold. Well, that's kinda crippled hunt, that's probably supposed to be 3 or 4 fault, but got stopped by the nearby woods. He's dropping a dog here already, to actually go for the water quite fast. He's having bountiful sea, so that's not really any problem. Even though looking at the overall distribution, it might seem like RoR are slightly better off, although I kinda think the difference is not that great as to make it game breaking or some such. At the backside you can see another hunt for purple and extra 2 gold mines, which are pretty much okay. And where are actually his stones? Alright, at the back. At the back. The last to have a look at from CZ is Mango. Having a very nice map as well, considering the gold and stone at the back here. And the forefront as well, so he's not really being in any kind of problems. Reasonably actually a reachable hunt. Otherwise, where's this main gold? Ah, here it is. Alright, that's a decent placement. Still close enough, and another hunt here together with a relic. Alright, so it's a pretty sweet map for him, I would say. Right now he's being... okay, he's not being bothered because it's actually his teammates. And he's already placed a palisade above and this wolf to see where everything is happening. But is this Steel Scout? I kinda think so. It seems like Scout from Teal is actually dead, which is not cool, as it limits his ability to actually scout. But looking how it's 3v3, he is having a help from Yannick here, and he will scout for him, so shouldn't be any serious disadvantage. Another relic right now for Falcon, and we already talked a bit about his precarious position if they happen to lose the water here. Yeah, this cove will be pretty important later in the game. Nice hunt, and otherwise, okay, gold. second goal as well, and stone, yeah. No problem at all with the map. Another relic on the right side, and the pocket for RoR is Kira as a Viking. He's having also a pretty nice map, so yeah, nothing to complain about for either team. We are also seeing that players are almost in feudal. The last to have a look at right now is Green Jon Snow, who is not advancing yet. But he's having a pretty nice map. We saw that he was having a lot of gold here at the top. And otherwise, well, he's having a one dog. Red is also at one dog. Seems like everybody has one dog. This is more of a defensive position actually for yellow. So they are aiming to actually defend more than CZ. You can see that CZ Mango is already having second dog and he's going for it aggressively. He's actually very interested in this coffee, it seems, and he wants to really rule it with all his might, which is a pretty good idea because, as we said earlier, it's important. Third dog already being dropped by Yannick as the Viking pocket, so we see that both teams actually have Vikings as pockets, so that's as fair a map placement as it can actually be in that regard. And third dog actually being dropped for Skull as well. In the meantime, Jon Snow is advancing into Feudal as the last one. And he's advancing at 27 Willy, so he will be probably going into Castle Age as soon as he advances. And otherwise, third dog from yellow and second from red. Alright, so let's see if actually some of the reds, sorry, some not reds, from CZ are actually going for some faster Castle Age as well. At this point, thinking they are all three going for Garage. You can see, yeah, that's pretty much the case. It doesn't really seem like any one of them is going for some faster castle. So let's see if that will go in to pay off. And it will all depend how successful they are actually at limiting red together with the green. God damn it, yellow, not green. But yeah, I think red and yellow make green, so that was some high level analysis in my brain there that I didn't want, but okay. Anyway, right now, this is going pretty well for Yannick and Mango in yellow and red's base, as they are definitely having the advantages in numbers, as it's kind of understandable. And you can see that Teal is actually positioning his ships to see if yellow would be interested in some aggressive dock, which he isn't at all. But yeah, Teal has to be careful so that he is not surprised by some brutality like that. You can also see that Skull has successfully walled. Well, successfully walled. He just walled here, even though not at the top. Actually aware of that. No, he might be thinking this forest is actually going all the way around, which is pretty faulty thinking. Might be actually also thinking that he's at the side of the map, not really looking all that well onto this onto the minimap, which is kind of curious. And right now dropping Blacksmith, which might signal that he's actually going for a faster castle as well, because he now recognized that Jon Snow is not going water at all. He's not having any opposition in there, and the sheer numbers here are just not in the advantage of red together with yellow, even though they're fighting near their docks, so replenishing time is much faster. Numbers are not there, although some weird maneuvers from CZ are actually helping them in the water. Yeah, you could just see that CZ were just turning around on the spot, literally without any shooting whatsoever. Just like 3-4 ships killed for nothing. But yeah, that happens. And still, the early advantage should be enough to actually put CZ far ahead. Right now, it will really be up to Skull to actually keep Jon Snow out of producing enough ships. So, should really spread these boats all around and actually be aware of what's going to happen here. Because he's being castle, and if he happened to build a reasonable fleet of war galleys, he could just turn the battle around very easily. Skull is right now at 600, so he is aiming for the castle, just as we saw from this map and from this build of the blacksmith. And right now you can see that Jon Snow is not even thinking about the water, he's just going for some castle aggression here as a Mayan. So that's going to be a castle drop. Let's see if he has enough. Yeah, he has more than enough stone. Let's see how that's going to happen and where the castle is being dropped. It seems like it will be very offensive, so it's probably going to be dropped to cover these double golds. I'm a bit kind of thinking that here it will be dropped, and it might be a bit too late for Skull. Right now he has to be careful, Kira, or rather Jon Snow, so that he doesn't go all that far behind. And castle is being dropped here, and it's a bit too forwardish. So let's see how Skull is actually doing in the archer department. He is building already, so he needs to go out. He needs to go out right now. This is actually blocked. This is actually blocked, and he needs to deploy those archers because this guy is having a long way to go around. Even though he could deploy through this hole, I think he needs to disrupt this castle. Because if he doesn't, he's going to be in trouble, and it seems he's not interested in that at all, so he's just going to let it go. And on the water, it's not going all that great for CZ as well. You see that RoR Kirab together with Falcon were able to defend and have right now pretty good numbers. I'm kind of thinking slightly bigger than CZ actually. Not all too sure, might be comparable. I guess we'll see soon enough. But the castle drop from Jon Snow is pretty strong right there. Alright, advances into Castle Age. Yannick will be first, then Skull, then Kira, and then Falcon. So it will be all up to Yannick to actually advance and upgrade Vorgalis as soon as possible, and then kill as many ships of opponents as they can, because they will be heading into a disadvantage, because Mango is still not up. Still not up, which means the battle is not going to go all that well. Yeah, Siege Workshop dropped, so that's pretty nice. Attack here from Jon Snow, very nice offensive play. And maybe, just maybe, Blue could use his ships to actually help his teammates. He's right now actually interested in some very nice raiding through this transport ship. So yeah, that's going to be a bit of a surprise for Girin, who will be forced to defend, and he has actually absolutely nothing at his home base. So let's see how we will deal with that. Market being dropped and Siege Workshop with Mangonels. Okay, so that's going to be his main defense, which is kinda understandable. But he better put up some infantry as well. And for that reason he has put up this barracks, and the army from Green though is getting stronger and that much more dangerous. Alright, so we have the water battle in the fullest here, where we see that Purple together with Red both have Vorgalis already. That's proper castle battle. There are still Mongols as Mango and Yellow Falcon as Han are still at just galleys. Even though Botkin Arrow is being researched and War Galley for Falcon as well. So right now there's 6+2, 6+1. Yeah. So unless this goes insanely well for some reason for Purple, this is going to be the end of this water battle in pretty much the wrong way that CZ did not want. Because it's just 2 versus 1, even though these are not War Galleys, it's still pretty strong push, and right now they are, so yeah, Purple is pretty much dead, and the water is not going all that well for CZ here as well. So this is the crossbowman raiding from Skull, and is disrupting gold gathering quite nicely, but not still stone gathering. So is there some extra gold that he can gather? Well, maybe somewhere, here at the back, otherwise at the forefront he won't be gathering from there anytime soon, and some plumes are actually coming home, so that will be the end of Skull's raiding. Right now you can see that he has actually pushed through the walls and is right now in CZ base, so that's pretty strong, and I'm kinda curious how Skull is going to deal with this. Because it's not going to be all that easy. He's right now far behind, and if some siege are actually going to pop in, he has just some skirmishers, so that's not that strong an army against that. CZ Mango is the last one to advance into Field Age finally. So that's going to be an interesting water battle once he does, but until that happens, they kinda need to be careful, because right now Yellow and Red are pushing in, and pushing in strong. At the bottom we just see some walls, so yeah, neither Yellow nor Teal are interested in some early fighting in there. But they better be careful on the water here. Maybe, just maybe, Skull might join them. Right now he's just having the boats here, just making sure that Green is actually not returning to the water. And also green is right now having Mangonel, and that's more problem for Skull, because right now his skirmishers are not going to be all that useful. And another castle is being dropped right inside Skull's base, which is a pretty good advance, and I'm really thinking this game is going very well for RoR. Very well for RoR, and right now Skull is trying to build his own castle, but he will be surprised by this Mangonel. Although, he needs to be careful so that it's not all too close to the TC, that it would be killed. Adds a bit of maneuvers here. And Skull just being here careful, so that his villies are actually not killed by the Mangonel. But another Mangonel is coming in, and with all the castles here, I'm kind of thinking that Skull will need some extra help, because he is not handling this very well as 1v1. And castle is very hard to come by in his base. Right now you can see that purple is doing pretty well on the water, Yannick. And his numbers alone are kind of equal to what RoR in red and yellow can actually muster. Right now you can see that teal is not really present at all. And purple is handling this pretty much okay. So what's actually right now? Mango is switching into slinging. Alright, so he just advanced into castle and is right now slinging into skull to actually help him defend. Help him defend with everything, and he's gathering a lot of stone to actually drop enough castles to defend himself passively, which is just as well as it is going to help him. So what is this? Okay, so this is just one galley. I was kind of thinking if it might not be some surprise landing on green as well, but no, it isn't. And siege are coming in into blue's base. So right now he's just going to send all the villagers to actually build a castle. And I think it's very close, and he's receiving a lot of resources from Mango, so it should be able to put him back on his feet reasonably soon. Even though right now it's just mill. Extra dog for Skull. If I see correctly, yeah, it seems like it's blue. And a lot of skirmishes, and that's pretty much it. So skirmishes and Mangonels is the army for blue right now to actually defend, which should be enough. With a bit of micro, you should be killing the battalion rams without any problem. And how's it looking at the water here? We can see that purple has retreated as far as he could. Right now facing pretty bad numbers in his disadvantage. And teal is still not doing anything right now, so what is he actually preparing? On the land, I don't see anything, so right now it's just full slinging into skull. So is that going to be really the correct choice of action? We're going to see. In the water here, definitely sees that losing, because you can't really fight 1 versus 2 when both of these two guys are going full water. That's not really the fight you can win, and you can see that, yeah, Yannick is playing with all his might. Even though he's not really giving up, as he's sending reinforcements from the bottom from all the dogs he has like a million dogs, actually supplying some extra units. So right now from the top, well, he's losing there, but not all that much, and from the bottom he might be able to actually close in on his opponents with enough numbers to actually win this in the end. So the front fleet is dead. The bottom one though is doing pretty well, and if these ships do not move to help, this might be actually going into Mango's way, Yannick's way in the end. Even though there's a lot of yellow, I mean actually to help green in the fight here. And we have second castle drop from Skull, which means that he's reasonably defended right now. But he just ran into some bad spot. Even though not that bad. Some good micro from Skull here that actually set in the Mangonel. And it will make life difficult for all this siege here. Archery range being dropped. Alright, so that's going to be a lot of skirmishers. Together with Mangonel, that's going to be pretty much it for Skull as a Hun here. And otherwise, is he doing something somewhere else? Seems like Jon Snow's actually push has been stopped by the castles because it's very hard to overcome. And Skull is actually going into Imperial right now, still being slung pretty hardly by Mango. And Yannick is going Imperial as well. So I'm kind of thinking that the water, well, Yannick is not really giving up. It's really costing RoR a lot of resources to win the water here. And Yannick is not giving up. And once he's in Imperial Age, it will be a lot faster than his opponents from RoR and upgrading into Galleons. He could actually be able to take the water by himself. Just by himself. You can see that Jon Snow was just asking for extra food on Imperial Age. He will be advancing as well, but he will be that too slower than Skull. He's just going to be a bit surprised there by that, I think. And you can see that this has been cleared by Jon Snow and has a lot of stables, archery ranges and barracks here and castles as well. So it seems like Skull is nicely established right now and will be waiting for some extra siege to actually help him. And he won't be waiting for siege, he's actually going for Dark Guns, which have pretty good attack against buildings, so that might be enough siege. All the siege that he actually needs. Let's see about that bloodlines here to make them even stronger. So let's see how that's going to pan out. Yannick is right now going for Galleons, alright, but he doesn't have really any army, or is he somewhere hidden? No, he isn't. Right now he isn't hidden, so that's just the sheer numbers of RoR actually winning the water. But Yellow is not preparing for anything at the bottom. Teal is still just slinging. I'm just really interested how this is going to develop further. We see the Galleons here from Yannick, so I'm kinda thinking he might want to establish somewhere else. Start building his ships. Because right now he's just losing everything. Kinda needlessly. And he doesn't really have anything in there, yeah, in those docks. Not much hidden. Just a few. Oh, just a few. Alright, that might be enough, because they are Galleons, and once he has chemistry, it's going to be that much more attack. And that much more a better water fight there. So a lot of Tarkans and Trebuchets are going in as well. Trebuchets are already up, and extra 2 being produced, so that's not going to end well for Jon Snow right there, as he won't be really having a good army against what is coming from Skull. Falcon going Imperial Age as well, so that's going to be okay. It's just RoR not going into there as well, and it seems like RoR was just going for coinage, which might suggest that he is interested in some slinging himself. Purple has been able to actually establish himself on the water again, with quite a decent amount of ships, and since they are Galleons, and the opponents are just war galleys, that's a lot of extra attack. That's a lot of extra attack. That should actually put Yannick back on the map underwater map. And yeah, you can see the whole the amount of dogs here. That's just nice to see. Kira also going into Imperial Age, so right now it will just come down to the fact if Mangos Sling will be strong enough and will be able to push Yannick into victory on the water and Skull into fast victory on the land here on this side. I'm kinda thinking so, because those 4 Trebuchets together with Dark Guns and a bit of skirmishes, that should be more than enough to actually deal with this. Yeah, one good shot. There it is. Goodbye. Goodbye, and we'll be moving forward, and this is pretty much goodbye for this early base from Jon Snow. So he will have to rethink what he's actually going to do. And I'm kind of thinking it might not be the worst kind of idea for Skull to actually build a transport ship. He already has one. Just get something extra on it, like Tarkans, with a bit of trebuchets, and just land into Green's base. He has literally nothing there. He's absolutely not ready for that. Red has just one castle here, that's pretty much it. And I'm kind of thinking that might be all that it would take to actually win the game for them. But let's see how this is going to pan out. You can see that Purple has been able to repel all the opponents from his base. Right now he's really owning the water with all his numbers. Right now Yellow is just content to deal with Teal. Although that won't really last all too long, because the numbers of Purple are pretty strong, and he's right now going in to actually make life difficult for Red, even though, yeah, the numbers are not good enough for that, because you can see that Red has enough, and he has also a defensive castle. But up top, if this joins with what is here, then that's going to be enough to actually put the supremacy on the water to the paper. Right now you can see that Jon Snow is just saying that he's dead, which he is, calling for GG. Skull is doing quite well, and a bit of an unfortunate path in here for Green, who ran into a bad spot and just losing all the army here. So good job by Skull to actually making him run into that bad a spot. Which means that Archons can right now go forward into some raiding. Town center, okay, just town center, so no castle. And that's not going to be enough, I'm afraid, for RoR. You can see that Kira is going for Galeno and Dry Dock, so he's not exactly giving up on the water either. Even though the numbers in Purple's favor are right now pretty huge. Not that huge as I thought. Not that huge as I thought, and these extra castles from yellow and red might actually be all it actually takes for RoR to defend against this onslaught from Yannick. Although, as I said earlier, winning this cove might be pretty important, and once actually some cannon gallons start getting here, they will have a long range and they will be very hard to deal with for yellow, and he will have to retreat somewhere, I don't know where. He's also trying to establish himself near the walls at the bottom, actually building some siege workshop and market here for some trade route and a castle as well. So yeah, that's going to be pretty important, as Mango is right now not really aware of this, and he should be careful so that he doesn't mind or rather cut through the forest here. At the top there's a pretty strong force of Skull actually taking the fight back to Green's base, who is right now losing pretty badly, as his game has been pretty much killed by the pretty strong sling by Mango, which was a very good defensible decision in the game that seems to be the one to actually kill them all. Right now you can see that Green is still not giving up, preparing some extra barracks. And Jon Snow just now saying GG. Just now saying GG, and is the resign coming? Yeah, here it is. Alright, so that's a GG, and CZ actually came back into the game very nicely. Even though for the majority of the game I would say they were losing. They definitely didn't seem all that well. Skull seemed to be pretty bad off against the early Jon Snow aggression. On the water it seemed really not that great for CZ either. They definitely knew what they were doing, and the switch into Sling from Mango was absolutely great decision that saved them the game and actually won them for it. So good job for CZ, and 3-0 sweep of RoR and advance into the semifinals of the RTS League Season 37. Very good job. So let's have a look at the achievements here. Yannick 12,565, alright, that's kind of understandable as a pocket and being slung by Mango there. Yannick, yep, units killed, units lost, that's basically thanks to the water. And he had by far the largest fleet there, 79 against just 64 by Kira. And that was a pretty strong sling by Mango, 1700, 17,000 cent. And if yours and viewers clicked into Skull for a long time, so we could see it was slung at like, I don't know, 15 minutes plus, so it wasn't really from the start, it was just when Skull was in a pretty bad position, so it was a late sling and a pretty strong one. He just was sending literally absolutely everything there. Mango was castle already, so he had pretty strong echo, and it allowed him to send quite decent tributes to his teammate. Villager high, yeah, he was just booming and slinging. Very strong game, 150. 150, that's one sweet sling right there then. Alright, GG then.